Are Chelsea the most talked about, unpredictable soap opera football club in the world at the moment? They might well be. A new coach and plenty of ins and outs provides for some amazing entertainment in pure Premier League fashion. Would you have it any other way? We are gripped by Premier League fever too, and of course intrigued to see how Chelsea get on this season. But what of the past at Stamford Bridge? Amongst the current roller coaster, Blues fans can find some solace in the glory days of before. So without further ado, welcome back to All Time 11s, and today we're going to visit the Blues. Not a tricky one to start with. Between the sticks is Petr Cech. What a goalkeeper. The big man from the Czech Republic is a Chelsea legend and was perhaps the best keeper in the world during his spell at the Bridge, which included 3 league titles, 4 FA Cups and a Champions League to boot. This monstrous figure made the goal look ever so small for even the very best opponents and broke all of the records in England. League clean sheets, minutes without conceding, Golden Glove awards and many more. It's a team sport, but Cech's individual ability was beyond crucial for this club's success. Moving into the back four, the man they called Dave because his name proved too difficult to pronounce makes our right back spot in the Chelsea all-time 11. Of course, we're talking about Cesar Azpilicueta. The Spaniard, who was a stalwart until his recent departure from the Blues, a fan favourite for his long busting runs up and down the wing, sumptuous crosses at the top end of the pitch, and key blocks at the back. Azpilicueta became Chelsea captain for his efforts and won every single trophy possible whilst at the club. Ron Harris is a name you might not be familiar with if you aren't a Chelsea fan, but this man took the term legend to new levels. Harris tucks in at centre-back with great merit, as he played a whopping 795 times for Chelsea, a club record. That's more games than many can manage in an entire career with various clubs. Between 1962 and 1980, Harris was a rock in the Chelsea defence, a loyal servant to his club long before the days of Abramovich's oil money. He helped the Blues win their first ever FA Cup in 1970 and also defeat Real Madrid in the European Cup Winners' Cup final in 1971. Speaking of rocks at the back, there is only one man to match Ron Harris. That is John Terry, known to the Stamford Bridge faithful as captain, leader, legend. Terry is the most successful captain Chelsea have ever had. He led them to 5 leagues, 5 FA Cups and European Cup glory, amongst other triumphs, over a 19-year period with the Blues. A truly gifted all-round centre-back. Perhaps the only thing Terry was lacking was being built like Virgil van Dijk. However, he was so good that it didn't really matter. On the ground or in the air, his leadership was obvious, but his quality in defending everything from one-on-ones to set pieces was beyond. He struck fear into opponents and left the odd meaty tackle on them too. At left back, we have to hand out an award. The first player to be named in the all-time 11s of 2 different teams. Unbelievable stuff. You guessed it, it's Cashley. Ashley Cole, the man who received tons of abuse from Arsenal fans at the time, will tell you the big move to their rivals was probably worth it. Cole was never out of the headlines because of his Posh and Bex-like relationship with pop star Cheryl at the time, and his controversial transfer of course. But the reality is he knew how to talk the talk on the pitch. He was incredible at Arsenal and just as good at Chelsea, a key component in their first ever Champions League victory in 2012 amongst many other brilliant triumphs. Mr. Chelsea, Frank Lampard, is the first name in the midfield for the Blues all-time 11. Famous for his late runs into the box and incredible finishing ability, Lampard arrived from West Ham with a baby face, but soon became the main man at the Bridge. A pioneer of the attacking midfield role, he wore the number 8 but played like a number 10 and finished like a number 9. Lamps, as he was known by his teammates, like John Terry, was another London boy, in the middle of a star-studded international squad. The local balance to the foreign flair, a man who the fans could really relate to. He finished his Chelsea career with a remarkable 200 goals in just under 600 appearances, 13 trophies and countless individual awards. While Lampard dashes forward, we need someone to hold the fort and command the middle of the park. Who better than his old teammate Michael Essien? The Ghanaian legend made his name as a Stamford Bridge legend too. Essien was a champion with Lyon and later had spells in Madrid and Milan, but he shone at Chelsea and he won the lot. Certainly more of a defensive midfielder, Essien still didn't lack any quality on the ball, and between the big tackles and constant interceptions, you would find him rifling home long-range screamers against the likes of Arsenal and Barcelona no less, a dynamo in the middle. The last man making up our three-part midfield is the legendary Alan Hudson. Hudson played for Chelsea between 1969 and 1974, so he was a teammate of Ron Harris and a part of the famous FA Cup and European Cup Winners' Cup side. Another London boy for the all-time 11, Hudson was known for being a box-to-box midfielder that could also pass and dribble the ball much better than your average number 8. Into the creative third we go, and who better to open up a defence than the little talismanic magician Gianfranco Zola. The Italian worked his way up the football ladder with successful spells at Napoli and Parma before signing for the Blues and making his way to West London in 1996, where he would stay until 2003 before heading back to Italy as a Chelsea legend. In the space of 4 fantastic seasons where United and Arsenal were very hard to compete with on a league basis, Zola helped Chelsea to 4 cups: the FA Cup twice, 1 League Cup and 1 UEFA Cup Winners' Cup. He was named Chelsea Player of the Year in 1999 and 2003 and was a true fan's favourite because quite simply he was super skillful and a joy to watch. The player kids would be looking to copy in the park, an idol for the Blues despite not playing in an era where they dominated. Soon after Zola left, things changed at Chelsea. Big investment arrived from Russia and a new super team was assembled that would fight the big dogs in England and Europe for the years to come. Perhaps the most famous face of Chelsea's new era was Didier Drogba. Drogba, of course, was the key figure in their first ever Champions League triumph. He scored their only goal in the game, a crucial late equaliser, as well as the winning penalty. That night was Drogba's night, the cherry on top of a Chelsea career where he bullied some of the Premier League's best defenders, week in and week out. With the big Ivorian at the helm, the Blues romped to titles including 4 leagues and 4 FA Cups. Drogba was named African Footballer of the Year twice. He captained his country and had such influence that he was involved in bringing peace to the Ivory Coast during times of war, no less. His effect on the pitch was equally as moving. He won 2 Premier League Golden Boots and scored 9 goals in cup finals alone for Chelsea. Perhaps his impact on the club will go unmatched for quite some time. Last but not least, it's Peter Osgood, aka the King of Stamford Bridge. Another key part of Chelsea's success in 1970 and 71, Osgood played up top for the Blues from 64 to 74 and later returned for a spell between 78 and 79. Osgood scored for Chelsea in major cup finals for 3 seasons on the bounce, including strikes in both legs of that historic Cup Winners' Cup win over Real Madrid. You might say he was the Drogba of his time. His statue stands to this day outside of the bridge and you cannot argue with that. A true club hero. So not a bad team, eh? Fair play to the 20th century Chelsea players that made the cut, because we all know how many superstars have passed through the door since then. Would you have made space for the likes of Desailly, Carvalho, Anelka or Shevchenko? For us, quite frankly, they didn't make the cut, but be sure to disagree in the comments below. See you next time.